Hello and welcome to the Solid Search Marketing Amazon sponsored ads training video on how to set up a campaign like a pro in less than 15 minutes, even if you've never done one before. My name is Chris Miyamoto, and I'm going to be taking you through our process of how we set up sponsored ad campaigns for our clients, for ourselves, and why we do what we do. So this training is to introduce you to the current process we use to set up campaigns for sponsored ads, and our goal is to make it easy enough for you to understand that even the most novice Amazon seller should be able to get started with using the Amazon sponsored ads platform, and also more so to understand it. At the end of this video, a link to the outline of this campaign structure will be provided for you to reference and to review, so you can have it like as a cheat sheet. If you are new to using sponsored ads, hang in there. If you start to get overwhelmed when watching this video, because later in the video you're going to see a step-by-step in real time of how I do the creation of what we're going to be explaining. For the first part of this video, it's all on PowerPoint slides, and then after that you're going to actually see it done one by one, creating the video and how it can be done in less than 15 minutes per product. If you're already familiar with the sponsored ads platform, the first part of this video may be enough for you to work with, so you won't need to watch the step-by-step since you already know the process. Okay, so let's start with the ad group and campaign naming. First thing that I want to make sure that everybody understands is that your naming structure is super important. So the big tip at the top, be sure to use a good naming structure for your campaigns and ad groups. And this is the reason why it's on the second slide, or right in the beginning of this presentation, is because it's that important. When you have a good naming structure, it'll make your life so much easier, and it'll save you a ton of time. So here it says in the second paragraph, a good naming structure is very important. It will keep you organized and will save a lot of time when you start doing maintenance on your account. So how do you do your naming? Well, this is how I recommend you do it. I recommend that you create a unique abbreviated names for your brand and for your product that are not real words. These are abbreviations that are not even part of a real word that you might be indexed or searched for, because when you do your filtering, you'll be able to pull up things and not have to worry about added filters being added in, especially when you're starting to work with spreadsheets, which you will in the future. And we'll make it easy enough for you to understand how to do that as well. So, for instance, on the right-hand side, this is a random product that I've picked. It has no reviews, so it's kind of a newer thing that I made sure that it won't really hurt anybody on this fact. Maybe if it's your product, I apologize if it happens to be yours, but maybe you can take some information from these videos and get your ad started on it. But this is a product by Royal Industries high heat spatula. So for Royal Industries, I would create an abbreviations of R&D. I would never use R&D in any part of my words of my search term, so I'm very comfortable with using R&D for Royal Industries as an abbreviation. Now, you can create whatever you want. It's just make sure that it's not a word that would be a common word used and searchable. Okay, so the next part is the product abbreviation. This is a high heat spatula. It's a set, so it could even be high heat spatula set. But for me, HHSPT, HH for high heat and SPT for spatula, that's what I would be using. Now, I could even remove one of the H's and just put HSPT if I wanted to. But like I said, it's really up to you how you ever want to do it. There's no real rule to it other than make sure it's not a real word that would be found in the dictionary. Okay, so here's an example of the following naming structure and how it's being used when we create our campaign, or what it would look like. So first part here, a campaign and ad group names look like this. You're going to put your brand first, and then you're going to put a dash, then product, and then match type in parentheses. Now this is used with parentheses because when you want to search or filter things out by just broad matches, then you'd be able to do that using parentheses BR and an end parentheses, where BR might be used in the word brown, or in other words, BRs, it's not uncommon for it to be within a word. So with the parentheses there, your filtering would be a lot easier. And again, I'll show you this more in the future as we go through the videos and get more training out there. But we find that it's very important that you do use the parentheses in this as well. Or you can use the word broad if you want to. I just like to keep it as short as possible because you will be adding your keywords into some places that could be longer in the future. So for this particular product here, we will be making a bunch of different campaigns, or what we call a 9-tail system. So you have 9 different campaigns, and in this one example of a broad match campaign would look like this: R&D-HHSPT. So R&D for Royal Industries, HHSPT for your high heat spatula, and BR for your broad match campaign. Now, another example is that we would be setting up an auto high campaign. So it would look like this: RND-HHSPT, and with the parentheses auto high. Now we will be using the same name for also the ad group, so you don't have to worry about creating a whole different ad group name as well. For those of you who are familiar with our trainings in the past, we used to use a different setup called the statement system. This is a lot easier than the statement system, so you don't have to have as many ad campaigns and ad groups. And you're going to see our naming structures are kind of similar, but there are big differences that are also happening, as ad groups used to have multiple different types of names within a campaign. So here's what we call the 9-tail setup. Okay, so we're going to start with tail 1. And we're going to work our way down. Now, the right side here is basically kind of your cheat sheet of what will I'll have an attachment to it, or you'll be able to download this if you want, or take a screenshot now. But this is basically the whole 9-tail structure and what would be created. So tail 1, starting at the top, we're going to have an auto high campaign. Now, this campaign, you're going to set your budget to whatever you feel you're willing to risk for this particular campaign. If you're up to $25, $30, or $100, feel free to put that in there. Just remember, this campaign can draw a lot of your funds. So keep in mind that this is a high automatic campaign that is running with a very high budget, and you're going to be potentially risking a lot if you put your budget too high. I'd say start off with maybe a quarter of what you feel comfortable and work your way up, because it could drain pretty fast. Now, the purpose of this campaign is to do research on what words are out there that could be, that Amazon thinks is relevant for your product. So you want to start your high bid campaign about 20 to 25% of whatever your product is most likely to be selling for most of the time. So for instance, if your product is selling at $19.99 is what you're going to be selling it most of the time after you've done your promos or your price adjustments to get your velocity going, your sales velocity going. So if it's $19.95 or $20, then you would have your bid set between $4 or $5, 20 to 25% of that, right? So at $5.01 or $4.01, you can set it at that. Now it's really, really high. As I said, you're going to be seeing what words are relevant that might be higher than what the traditional low campaigns most people set at. And of course, you're only going to be running this between 2 to 7 days. You're going to pause it. Well, like I said, whatever you feel comfortable, but you're looking to see what Amazon thinks of your product. Now, if you have the account that has really very little history, if this is brand new, then you're going to already have some negatives that you've gotten from historical data. So what you want to do is you want to grab those negatives, you want to stick it in here if you really want to make sure that you know that these words are just not going to convert for you. In most cases, if it's brand new, I would say you're going to let it run without any negatives. But in even historical campaigns, sometimes I recommend still letting some of the negatives run, unless it's been from an auto campaign where you absolutely know it's not going to do you any good. By all means, put it in there. But this is the research phase, or what we call our discovery phase, and I'll explain more in that later about how the first month works and what your maintenance going to be what you're going to be going through in your maintenance. So you're going to do that. This is what you're going to do. Put it in there, and you add your negatives only as exact match if you have some from historical data. Now, being that this is an auto campaign, what Amazon is going to do is going to look at your listing or your landing page or your product page. So you need to make sure you have it completely built out before you even start with doing these auto campaigns. If you have it very bare bones with hardly any text in there, Amazon's not going to know what to go ahead and try your product in. In fact, it's going to take the wrong guesses more likely. So you want to don't even start this until you have your product page completely built out with as many keywords as possible, good descriptions, good bullet points, and of course a great title. Okay, so let's go on to tail 2. On tail 2, you're going to set up another auto campaign, but you're going to set it at a lower bid, perhaps about 5% of what your product price is most likely going to sell at. So again, if you have your product selling at about $20, you're going to do 5% of that. And it's going to be about $1 or maybe $1.50 or $1.25. You're going to let it run. And this is a campaign that you're going to actually run forever. You're going to leave it at a low bid. And this is so that you can continue to get research words in play and know what negatives are going to be. You're going to have to maintain this with negatives, but you'll be able to continue to see if there's any new words that pop out. The other reason why you want auto campaigns to keep running is if you change your title or your description or your bullet points and you forget to add more campaigns for keywords, the auto campaign might be able to pick that up for you if you've added new campaign words. Keywords in there, so that the campaign will pick it up for you. So you're just going to let that run. You're going to always keep monitoring this as well. Okay. The last part is if you have an account that has a history just like the first one, if you already have historical words that you know definitely do not convert because this product may have been running for a while, make sure you put in your negatives in here so you don't let this waste too much of your budget. Okay, so tail number 3. This is where we get into the nitty-gritty of kind of our structuring after the autos. Okay, so a lot of times what you're going to do is you're already going to have some main keywords of what your product is. This could be anywhere from 10 to 20 to even like up to 30 to 100 keywords, depending on how granular you want to get with them. So you're going to start with your core keywords. This is what we call our root keywords. And say you have 20, or let's just say we have 3 root keywords for this example. We have it's a spatula, our spatula set from our example. We know it's great for brownies, so we want to definitely have this used for brownie spatula, and it's made of rubber. So this is a rubber spatula. So these 3 key terms, spatula, brownie, and rubber spatula, these are the 3 key terms that are our root words. These root words will be added to the next 2 campaigns as well. It's the same root words you're going to be putting in, but let's start with this one here that we have. So you have one ad group, and you're going to name it exactly the same as your campaign. So RND HHSPT, this is an exact match, so we're going to put the EX in parentheses. Take this, the ad group is going to be set up exactly the same title as the campaign, and then you're going to set your bids. Your default bids, again, this is just a guide, but you can set it around 10% of what your product price is going to be selling at. Again, if our product is $20, we're going to go with about $2 as a bid price. It's going to be a little high in the beginning. You might want to go up or down with it. It's really up to you on how much you want to set it at, and of course depending on your conversion rate. So now that you have this here, you're only going to be targeting one product. And I know some of you are thinking to yourself, well, what if I have multiple products that are different colors? Again, it's totally up to you, but this training is to show you how to do one product first. If you have multiple that are just different colors, I would say target the one that's the highest converter. And then if you want to break out for different colors, then you're going to change your campaign and ad group's name to add maybe a HHSPT blue or red or black on the end of this. And then of course, then target the different ones. You can do that as well. There's advanced strategies to that. Don't have time to go in this training video, but you can do that, or you can just put all of your spatulas, that's all you're going to create. You only have 3 of them. 3 different colors, and throw them all in here if you want to start to see which works best, and you can do maybe breakouts later. It's totally up to you on that. Okay, and the last part is you can have unlimited amount of exact match keywords in this campaign. How many root words you have, you can put them in here. Again, remember that the bid is at $2, so if they're not as relevant, I don't know if you want to do it in this campaign. There's going to be another campaign you can do that little lower called our breakouts. Okay, so let's go with tail number 4. This is our phrase match campaign, and you're going to, again, same thing, naming structure, just put PH for phrase, or you can put the whole word phrase if you want. Copy the name in your ad group name. It's going to be the same, and then your bid's going to be slightly less than what your exact match was. You can be 20% less than the 201, 25% less like this one here, or even more or less. It's really up to you. This is a tiered structure. So your exact match is going to be the highest. Your phrase match is going to be a mid-level bid, and then your broad match is going to be a lower bid. So this is kind of an example of how we do it for about a $20 item. Okay, again, putting the same root words that you started with, your core words that you know, this is what your product is about. You're going to stick it in here. And again, it's going to have a little lower bid putting in there, and we'll have it start running from here. You're going to have one product targeted, Again, if you're doing it with the exact match with multiple products, you're going to do the same, put exactly the same products in the phrase match as well. And then all the keywords here should be phrase match. Again, just to review on the first one with your tail 3, make sure that it's all exact match, because this is an exact match campaign. That's what your keywords are going to be. So let's go on to tail number 5. Pretty much the same thing. We're going to, again, set up the same campaign name using the same structure, but we're going to put the BR at the end here so that we know it's a broad match. Again, you can spread out the whole word if you want, but just make sure that your ad group name is the same as your campaign name. And then we're going to have your bid tiered lower than what your phrase match is. So again, this is the lowest of the bid because we're going to go for a lot of broad terms and it could pick up a lot of irrelevant words along the way. But we want to see what comes out of it. Your keywords are going to be your core, your root keywords again, sticking them in. So the same keywords that you put in, if it was 100 keywords in here, you should have 100 in here and 100 in the third one as well. So the tail 5 is going to have that. And of course, all of the words will be set to broad match. So that's how you're going to be setting these up. So this is your top 5 keywords and put out there. Now we have our next one, which is our catch-all. So this next tail number 6 is what we call our catch-all, and you can name it as see all, or if you want to put it a different name, that's totally up to you. But this is all the words that are less relevant that your keyword research says for you to try. Okay, you could have hundreds of words in here, that can be put in here. These are words that you don't know how relevant they're going to be. I would set the default bid for 19 cents. Or maybe 25 cents. If it's a $40 product, you can go even up to 50 cents or a little more because there's a lot of room for play. Okay, now these are going to be exact match words. These are also words that like the broad match might start to pull out. You're going to stick in there that seem irrelevant, but yet Amazon thought it was relevant for some reason. You can stick it in here. Your auto words that are just irrelevant will also be thrown in here in the future. Now, you don't start with any words unless you have, these are not your non-root core words. Okay, that's what's going to be put in here. So all of the other words that you weren't sure, like what about silicone spatula? That is not what my product is. But if I throw it in the catch-all, it is possible someone who's searching for a silicone spatula could change their mind and pick up my rubber spatula. So I wouldn't perhaps stick it in here. At 19 cents, I'm not too worried of it going to show up on the front page drawing a lot of bids. It could actually end up selling. Now make sure that your title is going to say clearly you have a plastic spatula so that people don't accidentally start clicking on it a ton of times. But you're going to watch this campaign as well. Again, it's a very low bid. Now, say you have rubber spatula, but you're not sure if silicone is close enough that it's actually should be maybe at a higher, because you do want it to give it a better chance. This is just a guide, 19 cents. You can always manually adjust those a little higher for the words that you want to add in that's going to be a little different. And so this is, like I said, this is something that Amazon themselves taught us about creating this campaign called the catch-all. Throw all the low bid items in here just to see what words might actually still show up and do it. And we liked it, and it seems to work as long as you have your bids low enough and it's not drawing too much of your budget. Okay, that's going to stop it. So again, it's one ad group, very low bid, one product targeted again. Default bid can be set to 20. Again, it's only a guide. You can go higher or lower. It's totally up to you. But it is a catch-all, which means it's less relevant, or at least secondary words. Now, these are new single keywords. Even the word just rubber could actually go in here. And you might want to set it lower because that is very broad. But again, that could be used as you want to use Amazon suggested keywords that, they sometimes suggest some really bad keywords that should not be part of your core. You're going to stick that in here as well. These are your highest converting words that you're going to put in your core. Okay, so from here, everything else, that's what you're going to have here. Questionable keywords you just don't know what to do with, stick it in here as well. And even the far-fetched keywords, like some of those tools, third-party tools that are out there, you're going to stick that in there as well. Okay, so that's going to be your catch-all. Next, you're going to have what we call the negative breakout words. Okay, so this negative breakout, basically when you're getting some words that are coming out to you after you've been having these campaigns run for a few days, you're going to put your negative breakout words that just do not make sense. But Amazon, again, thought it was relevant. So you're going to take those words and you're going to put in a negative breakout, and they're going to be as low as your catch-all. Okay, so these are words that that were you've negated from here because they should not have shown up in your phrase and your broad match cores and your auto campaigns. But again, Amazon saw them relevant, so you're going to stick it in here at a very low bid. You might even want to go lower than 20 to 30 cents, depending on how relevant they might be. Now, this catch-all can also be used instead of a negative breakout. You can throw it in here as well. The catch-all usually, though, is on a starting campaign. Well, we know that these are words that our keyword research told us, but we didn't think it should be part of our core. So that's your secondary words. But the negative breakouts are words that you pulled from here and you negated from the top core words, especially your phrase and your broad matches and your auto campaigns. If it's a word that you're negating from your exact match, you should really be pausing the words unless it's like plurals that don't make sense. But for the most part, it doesn't make sense to negate a word in exact match, in my opinion. Okay, so these are the words, again, negative breakouts. It's a very low bid because they're not performing anyway. You want to put them in there, but at least you can keep them running. You don't have to stop them where they don't show up at all when they could potentially do a sale if Amazon thought them potentially worthwhile. Because every once in a while you might be wrong where you think this word is completely irrelevant, but for some reason it sells well because people's mindsets might be in a different location and you might be a reminder they need your product. Like, for instance, it might be a plastic cooking spoon that keeps on showing up. And for some reason, my ads keep showing up from maybe rubber spatula. For some reason, Amazon thinks that they're going to put it in there together. But I'll put it in here because if it does have a sale, the reason why Amazon might be showing it up in the broad match is because it might have had sales or your auto campaigns. That it saw people were buying rubber spatulas whenever they did spoon searches, and that's why the auto campaigns are pulling them. So you want to throw them in here because it might actually work. So you want to do that. Now, here's the positive breakouts. So these are words that the auto campaigns do really, really well in, and they were not part of your cores, but you don't want to stick them into these per se because this is your core words and you want to monitor them. When you put in the positive breakout, you know that these are positive words. You can also adjust in it without messing around with your cores to know that things have been changing too much. You can put it in the exact. Before we started out this 9 tails, we had what's called a 6-pack, and it was everything except for these 3 because we would put them in here. But we found out for analyzing in the future, it made it easier if we had them broken out. So we have actually now a positive breakout. Oh, sorry. So we'll move down to here. Okay, so these bids should be set a little above average. It's cost per click that they were performing at. Your default bid can be set about your exact match because, again, these are performing words. But, again, once you put them in, you want to set them at whatever the positive cost per click came out of the auto campaign or your spatula. Because, of course, if it's a great performing word that performed at $3 in your auto, and that's what the cost per click was, when you stick it in here, you want to override the default and put it to $3 if it continues to perform well at that bid. It makes sense to not stick with the default staying here. But your default means that if it was set at 201 as the exact match and it was doing well, and 201 seems to be a number that's a good percentage for you to start at, then you don't have to think too much because the majority of your words might be at that. You're going to stick at 201 there. Okay. These are ad-winning words that you want to break out and control closely. Again, these are from your auto, phrase match, and broad match campaigns, and that's where you're going to be grabbing them from. Okay, so the 9th tail. This is called our misspelling words. You're going to see people misspell a ton of words in your search terms, and of course, these could be goldmine words because a lot of people might be misspelling the word spatula for some reason. 2 L's, or throw them in here when you start seeing them come up. Bid on them directly as exact matches. And of course, I forgot to cover that, but all of these, whenever you stick something in here, they're always going to be exact match, so you have more control. You already have your broad match up here. And your auto campaigns will be grabbing broad matches anyway. So leave this let it do its thing here. But all of these, anything added in the lower parts or anything that's done off of performing words where you're pulling them out, make sure you're always using exact match. And this misspelling is no different. Use the exact matches of the misspellings that you're pulling out of the auto campaigns that start to generate those words from your search term reports. So that in itself is basically the structure of everything that you have. Now, we're going to go into what do you do after you have this set up. And of course, those of you who are new to this, I know that this is overwhelming. You're probably thinking, oh my goodness, I can't do this. You can. I'm going to show you how to do this setup. And then the maintenance, we're going to have We have a couple more slides we're going to go through. I'm going to go briefly over the maintenance for you there. Okay, so the first 4 weeks, when you have this set up, this is what we call our discovery phase. Remember, you do not have accurate sales data for at least 48 hours after a sale is made. You don't even know that the sales are made. So this means that you don't want to make panic decisions based on your ACOS that includes data that if your data is showing the last 2 days in your search term reports or your bulk downloads, however you're grabbing your data from, you don't have the sales data yet. So you cannot make, if you spent $100 on a campaign yesterday, and it has no sales, it's just because the sales may not have come in yet. You're going to have to wait. And I know this is tough. Even when I go through some of the data, it seems very daunting where you have $200 or $300 being spent in a campaign and you don't see sales for 2 days and you have to wait to the third and you want to start making adjustments. But don't hold back, resist to do that until you actually get that third day in, so that you have all your sales data in. So again, during the discovery phase, anytime, even after the discovery phase, this is just a reminder you do not have all your sales data in. So your ACOS will be high for the first 48 hours after a day ends. So the first week, what do? Your budget may be very high during this first week, obviously, because you're letting your auto campaigns run, everything going. There's no negatives potentially on a lot of stuff. And since sales data takes a few days to show up, you won't have enough sales data to do too many adjustments on your bids. You're going to just pretty much watch and see what happens. Okay, you can look at your search term reports for majorly irrelevant words that appear in your auto campaigns, some of your phrase match and your broad match, or look for words that are totally just not what your product is. For instance, on my spatulas, there are cooking spatulas and they're not fish frying spatulas. Okay, so if I see fish frying spatula, I know if someone clicks on mine, they're not going to be happy and not what they want. That is something I'm going to take off as a negative, even in the first week, even without sales data. It's possible I might get a sale, but I'll see that a little later. So make sure you take out all the ones that are just totally irrelevant and you're getting too many clicks for. There are products out there, and I use an example of glasses. If somebody is selling glasses, there's so many different type of glasses out there. There's eyeglasses, sunglasses, root beer glasses, wine glasses. So if you're, the term glasses, if you're any type of glass and it's not your type of glass showing up, and that's the wrong thing, you want to make sure that you get rid of those terms that are coming up that are totally irrelevant. And you can do this in the first week for your negatives. Now, you should be watching your search term reports on what words you need to negate. And these are words that don't make sense that they're even showing up. You also want to go into that because sometimes that's going to happen, especially with your auto campaigns. Somebody might have been searching for a baby product and ended up buying your spatula set. Your auto campaigns may show baby products because historically a couple of people have bought, but you're probably not going to get sales. You can take those out as well. Now, what you want to do is you want to check back. Keep records of what you negated. Check them again 3 weeks later to see if sales came in after you negated them because you didn't have sales data yet, because then you might say, hey, maybe you might want to try it because there might be another reason why people are buying it, and check those words in. Okay, so week 2. Now, you can start to aggressively drop bids on exceptionally high ACOS terms only. Okay, so these are ACOS or words that are just still also getting a lot of clicks that's so irrelevant, but you can start to do that. You can drop your bids on those. So because you have 1 week's worth of data at this point, so you can actually make some educated decisions on it. Now, again, if you can resist, don't make panic adjustments. Hold off as much as you possibly from doing too much. So watch your search term reports, negate irrelevant words again that are totally irrelevant, that doesn't make any sense. Drop your bids on totally irrelevant words that have no sales but high spend as well. Okay, look at those words, look for all those impressions that are coming out there. And then the last part is you're going to add all your negative keywords that you're pulling out and negative, put in your breakout campaigns when you're doing that. Okay, so moving on to week 3. It's the same as week 2, but you can even be more aggressive now. Now, with 2 weeks worth of data, you can be a little more aggressive on your dropping of bids because you have more information. Now, you can also negate your key terms. Early and unexpected great performing keywords found in the auto, phrase, and match and broad match campaigns can be now moved to your positive breakout campaigns at this point. And then more underperforming words should have their bids dropped, while non-relevant keywords are to be negated. Now, some people will be saying, well, what do I do when I move it out to the positive campaigns? Do I negate them? This is up to you. Sometimes we negate them against the positive so they don't keep showing. Other times we let them run. Most times we'll let them run for a while to see where they're at. Unless the bids are high, we're going to adjust for bids anyway. But that's something you're going to want to watch, because there is something to be said about the momentum that the campaigns that they're coming from, like the broad and the phrase match, before you move them over, that may actually keep it selling very well. But in the meantime, you're going to want to move it out there and put it into breaking out to your positive breakout campaigns. Last one is the week 4. So from here, you can be even more aggressive. With 3 weeks worth of data, you can now make even better educated decisions. Early and unexpected great performing keywords found in the auto phrase and broad match campaigns can now be moved to your positive breakout campaigns even more so. And more underperforming words should have their bids dropped, while non-relevant keywords are going to be negated even more so. So that's what we have here. And then you're going to come into, after the 4th week, what we just call strictly maintenance mode at this point, which is everything that you've been doing for the last really 3 weeks. But it's going to be very, very important that you keep track of everything that you've been doing. Okay, your negatives, however you want to build your spreadsheets out, or do even a storyline. However you do that, make sure that you know what words you've been negating from this point on. I mean, from day 1, the negatives that you've been doing. And that way you can actually see if maybe certain things you can tweak, or you might be able to decipher if there was a word that you accidentally shouldn't have negated, or bid adjustments too. This takes a lot of work, but it is so worth it, because it can save you literally thousands of dollars worth of sales that you might lose if you don't turn things back that you accidentally shouldn't have. It's kind of important that you watch out for this, especially when it comes to bid adjustments. You need to keep an eye on those type of things. We have very extensive sheets that we keep data on of all changes that are being made, and these have saved us, as far as, hey, all of a sudden sales have dropped on ad sales by 30, 40, 50%, and we don't know why. Going back to our notes, we can see, one word was negating when it shouldn't be, because that was a good performing words, or by negating it in one campaign, even though we moved it out to another, we are realizing that it needs to be turned back on in another, or remove the negation to get that sales keep coming up until the other one builds up a little faster. So that is basically the whole 9-tails setup and what we do with this system here. In the next part of this video, you're going to see us do it. You're going to see me do it by doing it live and how we do the setup. I'm going to just walk through the step-by-step, showing you on my screen in one of my accounts on how we do this whole setup and what it looks like. So for those of you who are advanced, you really don't need to watch that, but because everything that was covered, we're going to be following the slides and how we do the breakout, but you'll get a chance to see the setup done right on your screen. So for those of you who are brand new, you can actually just follow along, pause the video where needed, and you can set up your own campaigns. And I will see you in the next portion of this video. Okay, welcome to the second half of the video. In this demonstration, I'm going to be showing you live on my account how to set up these campaigns for a particular product. Now we're going to be continuing with the spatula set that you saw in the first half of this video. And what we're going to do is, I have a couple of things already pre-set up so that it'll make it go a little faster. And funny thing is, this is the second time I'm re-recording this video. I've just gone through it and I forgot to turn on my audio and it was a 13-minute video. So I do know for sure that you can set this up in less than 15 minutes and probably even faster, because I'm going to be explaining along the way. So let's get started. You're going to be going to your Amazon Seller Central account. Once you log in, click on advertise, or go to advertising, click on campaign manager, and you'll end up in a screen just like this. From here, if this is your first campaign you're setting up, you're going to click on create campaign. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through all 9 tails of the account on setting it up. So we're going to start with our auto high campaign, and that's what we're going to be putting in here. Using your naming structure, make sure that you're starting it right away. You can change this later, but you just don't want to do that. You might as well set everything up from the beginning to get it started. Again, daily budget, set it for $25 in this case, and we're going to do an automatic campaign to begin with. Continue the next step. Then you're going to put the same name in your ad group name here, and you're going to then select your product that should be in the listing down here if it's already live. Once it's selected, then basically you're going to add in your default bid. Now again, this is your auto high campaign, so it's an automatic, and we're going to set it pretty high. I like to go about $5 on my products just to get it started. It's only going to be running for a few days anyway. Once we're done with that, hit save and finish, and you're already done with your first campaign. That's how fast it can be done. And that right now, this video has only been running for exactly 2 minutes. So let's do our next campaign. We're going to do our auto low, create campaign, put in your new campaign name with the words auto low in it that's built in. Again, my daily budget for this one will probably be about $25. An automatic campaign. I'm going to continue to my next step. Name my ad group the same as my main campaign. I'm going to select my product here. It's showing that this is the product that's selected. Again, go to my default bid. Now, for the low campaign, this is one we're going to be running for a while, and I'm going to put it at a default bid of $1.25. Hit save and finish. And we've already got 2 of our 9 tails put together and added to this account already. So next we're going to move into our first core campaign, which is our exact match campaign. So we're going to hit our create campaign now. Put in our campaign name with the EX for exact match, and my daily budget again for this one I'm probably going to do just $25. But the difference here is we're now going to go into the manual campaigns. We're already done with all our autos, so everything from this point on is going to be manual. Continue the next step. Again, I'm going to name my ad group the same as my campaign name. I'm going to select my product here, and now that my product's selected, and because this is a manual campaign, it's going to give you suggestions of what words you might want to put in here. Let's do my bid first. My bid for this is going to be $2.01. It's a top tier bid, but I'm going to provide my own keywords. Now, we're not going to do any keyword research training on this. That's something that's either going to be a whole separate video. It takes a while to go through, but I already have my core keywords. So I have a list here of my top core keywords I know that I'm going to be bidding on. It would probably be a lot longer, probably be about 50 to 100 words, but for the reason of this demonstration, these are my top words, and these are my secondary words that I don't think should be part of my core. They're probably not going to perform as good, but I'm not going to ignore them. I'm going to give it a chance, but I'm not going to put it as my core words. So I'm going to take these words, I'm going to put in my own words here, and this is my exact match grouping. So I'm going to set this to exact here. Once this exact is set to exact and I have my words, I'm going to add these keywords, and this will give you a chance. These are the words that say it's selected, but it'll give you a chance to change the default bid here on the right hand side. Okay, so if there's some words that you think you want to bid higher or lower on, you can override it here. You can always change it later, but this is a good time for you to do that. Once I have all the words that I know this is what I want, I'm going to leave these here. I mean, they've been pre-selected anyway. Then I'm going to hit save and finish. Now, the one thing you want to make sure is your match type is set properly, because if it's not, you want to take them all out, start all over again to this, change this to the exact match if you forgot to do that. Then I hit save and finish. And my first of my main core campaigns is actually set up for exact match here. Next we're going to move into is the phrase match campaign. So I'm going to take my phrase match campaign name, put it in here. Daily budget, again, $25. I'm going to do a manual campaign at this point and hit continue to next step. As you can see, this is a very easy process to do. I'm going to, again, ad group name is the same as my campaign. Select my same product here. And I'm going to provide my own keywords. But before that, I'll put in my bid. And this is the second tier. The first tier is the 201 that I had for my exact match. This is going to be a little lower because it's a phrase match. I'm going to provide my own keywords. And once again, I am going to be putting in my same keywords that I had last time, which are my cores. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to put my keywords in here. And this time it's going to be phrase match because this is a phrase match campaign grouping. I'm going to add these words in. And again, I can check them, just make sure this match type is phrase. And if there's any bid adjustments I want to make, I can do that here one by one and hit save and finish. Once that's done, I now have 4 of my 9 tails, and then I'm going to go on and move on to my broad match next. So I'm going to create a new campaign. Again, my naming structure with the BR for broad, that's put in there. My daily budget, again, is at $25 because that's what I feel comfortable with. You set to what you do, what you feel most comfortable. Hitting the manual campaign or manual targeting next. Click on next step. And again, putting in the same name as my campaign name, copying that in there. I'm going to select my product, scroll down. My default bid is going to be my 3rd level, the lowest level of my core keywords. So my broad match is $1.01. It's less than the phrase, and even more so less than the exact match. I'm going to provide again my own keywords, and once I have my own keywords, I'm going to select these again, copy it, and I'm going to paste it in here. And this is my broad match campaign, so I'm going to leave this as broad here. Add these keywords, again double checking that this says broad here, and if there's any words I want to adjust my bids, I can do that again. Since they're going to stay the same, hit save and finish. And I now have 5 of my 9 tails, so I'm halfway done. Next, we're going to do the catch-all campaign here. So let's start with creating a new campaign again, putting in my naming with the catch-all word here. $25 is my budget again, and I'm going to do manual targeting. Hit continue to next step. And again, name my ad group name the same, and I'm going to select my product, scroll down, and I'm going to go set my default bid for this this catch-all is going to be a lot lower. So I'm going to do $1.19, 19 cents. Because these are words, like I said, they're not too irrelevant and don't know how they're going to perform, but they're given to me by either like something like Merchant Words or Keyword Inspector, or even Amazon if they're suggesting words that you're not sure about it working. Like for instance, look here, red. It's asking me to bid on the word red. Definitely think that's going to be an option I can do. I can even do plastic, and so these two, red and plastic, I can go ahead and bid on. But I'm going to provide my own words, and I'm going to put in red and say plastic. So that can get this campaign started, right? Again, anything after the phrase on the broad match main, all other campaigns are always going to be set to exact match. Okay, those are all the words you're always going to add in there. I'm going to add these 2 words. And if I have a whole bunch of secondary core words that I want to add in, like just say that these were words that were questionable. Now, this is a little more than just questionable. These are actually pretty good words. But I'm going to copy this and paste them in here. These are exact match. So when I add these in, what I'm then going to do is I'm going to switch some of these bids to be higher because they're like secondary words. So if I think I'm going to go, I can set it to 75 cents, right? And then put this one at maybe 75 as well. And then maybe Pyrex spatula, if I think it's a hot word, I'm going to be at maybe 98 cents. But, you're going to make your own bids up, and you're going to put it in here. Now, the red, of course, I'm going to keep at 15 or 19 because I don't know. Now, if you hit apply, what's going to happen is it's going to take the suggested and stick it in there for you. And these all override the auto campaign if you hit. Now, if you apply all, it'll throw all of these that are in the suggested bid over if there is one. So that sets that up there for, this is our catch-all. And we now have 6 of our 9 tails. Now this 6, we actually call the 6-pack because you can stop here since you don't have any breakouts yet if they're a brand new campaign. We're going to continue on so that I can show you a complete setup though. So I'm going to create a new campaign now. This is our negative breakout next. And my daily budget for this one will probably be a little less. So I'm going to do $15. And this is my manual targeting. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put in, after I fill in this area here and select my product, again doing the same thing. My name is going to be the same as my campaign name. My default bid for this one as a negative breakout is going to be quite low. So I'm going to put 21 cents, and then I'm going to provide my own word. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put in some random word there. So that this is a word, it's not going to be something I'm going to leave in here. And of course, if this were real, I would put exact match, sticking it in here, and I'm going to save and finish. Now, once this is set up with a word in it, I'm actually going to take out that word. So I'm going to go to the negative, and the reason being is that we're not going to bid on it anyway. I mean, I could leave it as it is not a word that someone's going to ever take. But for the sake of this video, when you have it, so I'm going to show you what to do with a word that you put in there. I'm going to go ahead and archive it and say yes. Now what that has done is it has made this campaign not runnable because there's no keywords in it. So which is completely fine with me, because when I do have negatives to break out, I have my campaign ready to go. I don't have to create it at the time. I just copy and paste my negative breakout, stick it in here, and my default bid and everything's already set up. So going back to the home screen with all of them, my negative breakout is set up. Now I'm going to do my positive breakout exactly the same, except some of my bid amounts and budgets may be different. But my positive breakout I'm going to put in here. Now this is words that I know work really well, so I'm going to stay on the higher side of my budget. Do manual targeting. Again, name the ad group name the same as your other your campaign name. Add the product. Once the product is in, I'm going to provide my own keyword. Oh, let's set the bid first at, again, this is exact positive breakout, so it's going to be higher, and then we're going to put in, again, just a random word just to get this set up for now. So that we can finish it off and it'll be actually ready and waiting for words. I'm going to add this keyword, hit save and finish, and the next thing is I'm going to go in again to this one. I could leave it because no one's going to bid on these words, but I just want to show you the whole process going all the way through. We're going to take this word and we're going to archive it because we don't need it in there. Hit yes, it's not going to be in there anymore, and then go back. And next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the misspelling. So we're going to create the last campaign. You already got 8 of your 9 tails put in. This is the last one here. And of course, we can do a little lower on the budget, manual targeting. And we're going to continue the next step. Again, name the ad group the same. Select our product. Put on our default bid. For misspellings, we can go pretty low. So again, 21 cents would be a good enough. Put in and then we're going to actually leave the misspelling or any misspelling words that we do find. That's what this campaign is for. So let's go ahead and spell it incorrectly. Spatula. Okay. Put this always exact match. Going to add this keyword and save and finish. And that is actually the whole 9 tails process all put together. This has been 13 minutes and 50 seconds. That's how long it took us to show everything. Now I started a minute into it, so it actually took only 12 minutes and 50 seconds to do the whole setup for one product. Now, for those of you who would like to get the downloads of the resources that we have regarding this 9tails system, you can get it at solidsearchmarketing.com/9tails. There you'll find a download of the links to the resources that we have, including the entire structure that you saw earlier in this video of the 9tails system. We also have a newsletter at Solid Search Marketing that we put out that comes out about once a week or so with videos between 5 to 10 minutes long regarding all of the hints and tips and the changes that's been going on with Amazon sponsored ads. So if you'd like to be kept up to date on what's going on with the new strategies and other things that'll help you with your sponsored ads, you can sign up at solidsearchmarketing.com/newsletter and get added to our list for our newsletter mailings. Thank you very much for joining us here. I hope that you found this very useful. If you have any questions or comments, we'd love to hear them. Feel free to reach out to us at solidsearchmarketing.com/contact, and there you'll find a location where you can add your questions and comments and reach out to us and let us know what you're thinking. Thank you again, and have a great day.